I'm sitting in my living room right now looking at my two grown children, and I cannot help but feel this overwhelming sense of pride. Lucas is 26, engaged, working as an engineer just like his old man. Sophia is 24, a talented graphic designer with her own apartment downtown. 21 years ago, their mother walked out on us without looking back. She chose her affair partner over her family, over her babies. But here we are. We made it. We built something beautiful from the wreckage she left behind. Today, that doorbell is about to ring, and everything I thought I had left in the past is about to come crashing back into the present. Before I tell you what happened when that doorbell rang, I would love to know where you are watching from. Drop your location in the comments below. If you have ever had to rebuild your life from scratch, hit that like button. And subscribe, because this story is about what happens when the past comes knocking, expecting a second chance it never earned. Now let me tell you how it all began. I met Diana when I was 26 years old at a company event. She worked in the marketing department while I was an engineer, and something about her smile caught my attention that night. We started dating, and for 18 months everything felt right. We got married when I turned 28, rented a small apartment in the suburbs, and started building what I thought would be our forever. Lucas came along when I was 29. Holding that tiny boy in my arms for the first time, I remember thinking my life was complete. 2 years later, Sophia arrived, and our little family felt perfect. Diana stayed home with the kids, while I worked long hours, trying to provide everything they needed. Our evenings were spent together, after the children went to bed, talking about our dreams, planning vacations we would take when the kids were older, discussing which schools they would attend. I worked hard sometimes, pulling 12-hour days, but I always made it home for dinner. I wanted to be present. I wanted to be the kind of father my dad never was to me. Diana seemed happy during those early years. She would greet me at the door with the kids, and we would have these chaotic but beautiful evenings filled with bath time, bedtime stories, and little hands reaching for hugs. When Lucas turned 5 and Sophia was 3, Diana told me she wanted to go back to work part-time. She said she missed using her marketing skills, missed being around adults. I supported her completely. I thought it would be good for her, give her a sense of purpose outside of motherhood. She found a position at a different company, something flexible that allowed her to work 3 days a week while the kids were in daycare and preschool. That is when things started changing. The shift was gradual at first, so subtle I almost missed it. Diana began coming home later than her shift ended. She said there were meetings, project deadlines, team dinners. Her phone became this guarded thing, always face down on the table, always in her pocket. When it buzzed, she would glance at it with this look I could not quite read, then slip away to another room to respond. She started paying more attention to her appearance too. New clothes appeared in her closet, outfits I had never seen her wear. She spent longer getting ready in the mornings, perfecting her makeup, trying different hairstyles. At first I told myself this was good. She was feeling confident again, reconnecting with her professional self. But deep down something felt wrong. The late-night phone calls started around month 6 of her new job. I would wake up at 2 in the morning to find her side of the bed empty. I would hear her voice drifting from the living room, soft and intimate, laughing in a way she had not laughed with me in months. When I asked about it, she said it was a colleague dealing with a difficult project, someone who needed advice. I wanted to believe her. I desperately wanted to believe her. Then came the night that shattered everything. I left work early because a client meeting got canceled. I walked through our apartment door around 4 in the afternoon instead of my usual 7. The house was quiet. The kids were still at daycare. I heard Diana's voice coming from our bedroom, and something in my gut told me to stop to listen. Her voice was different, soft, tender, vulnerable, in a way I had not heard in years. "I cannot keep doing this," she was saying. "I need to tell him soon. This is tearing me apart." A pause. "Then I love you too." I pushed open the bedroom door. Diana was sitting on our bed, phone pressed to her ear, and when she saw me, all the color drained from her face. She hung up immediately, stammering something about a friend, but I was already shaking my head. "Who was that?" My voice came out surprisingly calm. She tried to lie at first, spinning some story about a coworker going through a divorce. But I just stood there staring at her, and eventually the truth came tumbling out. His name was Gregory. He was her supervisor. They had been involved for 8 months. 8 months of lies, of sneaking around, of her coming home and kissing me goodnight, while carrying someone else's touch on her skin. I asked her why. She said she did not know. She said it just happened. She said Gregory made her feel young again, made her feel like more than just a mom and a wife. I asked if she wanted to work on our marriage, go to counseling, fight for what we had built. She looked at me with tears streaming down her face and said she did not think she could. 3 days later, Diana sat me down and told me she had made her decision. She wanted a divorce. She wanted to start a new life with Gregory. And then she said the words that will haunt me forever. I do not want custody of the kids. I am not ready to be a mother. I stared at her, unable to process what I was hearing. You already are a mother, I said. You have been a mother for 5 years. She shook her head, tears falling. I made a mistake. I was too young when we had them. I want my life back, Calvin. I want to travel, focus on my career, be free. I cannot do that with 2 small children. I remember standing up, my whole body shaking. These are your children, Diana. Our children. You cannot just opt out of being their mother. But she could, and she did. She packed her belongings that same afternoon, while I picked up Lucas and Sophia from daycare. When we got home, she was loading the last box into her car. The kids ran to her excited to see Mommy, but she barely bent down to acknowledge them. She did not hug them. She did not kiss them goodbye. She just looked at me over their heads and said, "You will be better at this than me anyway." Then she got in her car and drove away. Lucas and Sophia stood at the window, watching her taillights disappear down the street, not understanding that their mother was never coming back. That was the last time I saw Diana. For 21 years she was nothing but a painful memory. The first week after Diana left was the darkest period of my life. Lucas kept asking when Mommy was coming home, and I had no idea how to explain to a 5-year-old that his mother had chosen to leave him. Sophia was too young to articulate her feelings, but she cried every night calling for Diana until she exhausted herself into sleep. I had to figure out how to be 2 parents at once while keeping my full-time job. I reached out to our neighbor, Mrs. Patterson, a retired teacher with grandchildren of her own. She agreed to watch Lucas and Sophia during the day, and I will be grateful to that woman for the rest of my life. She gave me the breathing room I needed to hold everything together. Those early months were a blur of exhaustion. I would wake up at 5 in the morning to pack lunches, lay out clothes, make breakfast. I would drop the kids off at Mrs. Patterson's house by 7:30, race to work, put in 8 hours, while my mind constantly worried about whether Lucas was okay at kindergarten, whether Sophia was eating properly. Then I would leave work at exactly 5, pick up the kids, come home and make dinner, give them baths, read bedtime stories, clean up the kitchen, prep for the next day, and collapse into bed around midnight, only to wake up and do it all over again. The financial pressure was crushing. On a single income, I was paying rent, childcare, groceries, clothes, all the expenses that used to be split between 2 people. The divorce papers arrived 6 weeks after Diana left. She signed away all parental rights, asked for no custody or visitation, and did not request a single dollar in alimony. She just wanted out, wanted it clean, wanted to pretend we never happened. There were nights I sat on the kitchen floor after the kids were asleep, head in my hands, wondering how I was going to survive this. But then I would hear Lucas cough from his bedroom, or Sophia call out from a bad dream, and I would remember why I could not fall apart. They needed me. I was all they had. I had to learn skills I never imagined needing. I taught myself to braid Sophia's hair by watching videos online, my thick fingers fumbling with the tiny elastics. I learned to cook more than just scrambled eggs and toast, figuring out how to make balanced meals that kids would actually eat. I became an expert at checking homework, building blanket forts, and negotiating bedtimes. Our mornings were controlled chaos. I would wake them gently, get them dressed, while they were still half asleep, carry Sophia to the kitchen table, where I would coax cereal into her mouth, while Lucas slowly came to life. We developed a routine, the 3 of us learning to move through our days like a well-oiled machine. The milestones hit me harder than I expected. Lucas's first day of first grade, I stood in the crowd of parents with my phone camera, the only dad in a sea of moms. I recorded his teacher welcoming the class, captured his nervous smile as he found his desk, and later that night, I watched the video alone in my room and cried. When Sophia lost her first tooth, she came running to me, blood on her chin, eyes wide with excitement and fear. I had to Google what the tooth fairy was supposed to leave these days. I settled on $5 and a note written in my neatest handwriting, trying to make it look magical. Her face the next morning made every awkward moment worth it. But there were painful moments too. Lucas asked about his mother seriously for the first time when he was 7. We were driving home from soccer practice, and out of nowhere he said, "Dad, why did Mom leave us? Was it because of me? Did I do something wrong?" I had to pull the car over because my vision blurred with tears. I turned around to face him in the back seat and said, "Lucas, listen to me. You did nothing wrong. Neither did Sophia. Your mother left because she had issues. She could not handle problems that had nothing to do with how incredible you both are. Sometimes adults make terrible decisions and kids end up hurt by them. But that is on us, not on you. Never on you." Every Mother's Day was torture. The school would have the kids make cards, and Lucas and Sophia would come home empty-handed, not knowing who to give them to. Sophia got teased by classmates who asked where her mom was, why she never came to school events. She came home crying more than once, and I would hold her and explain that families came in all shapes, that having one parent who loved her with everything he had was enough. I made a decision during those years. I would not just be their father, I would be their mother too. I would show up to every school, play every parent-teacher conference, every birthday party. I would braid hair and pack lunches, and give advice about friendship drama. I would be everything they needed, even if it meant I had nothing left for myself. By the time Lucas turned 10 and Sophia was 8, we had found our rhythm. I got promoted at work, which meant better pay and more flexibility. We moved to a bigger house with a backyard where the kids could play. I started feeling like maybe we were going to be okay. I created traditions for us. Things that were ours alone. Friday nights became pizza night, where all 3 of us would make homemade pizza together, arguing over toppings and making a mess of the kitchen. Sunday mornings were pancake morning with Lucas and Sophia taking turns flipping while I supervised. Once a month, we would pack up the car and go camping, just the 3 of us under the stars. I taught Lucas to play basketball in our driveway, running alongside him until he got the hang of dribbling. I taught Sophia to ride a bike, jogging behind her with my hand on the seat until she found her balance and took off on her own. The night before Lucas started middle school, I sat with him on his bed and talked about growing up, about the changes he would experience, about staying true to himself. When Sophia had her first heartbreak at 16, some boy who did not deserve her anyway, she came home sobbing. I held her while she cried and said, "His loss, sweetheart, his loss." Diana never contacted us. Not once in 21 years. No phone calls, no birthday cards, no child support payments, no Christmas presents. I never legally prevented the kids from trying to find her if they wanted to. I told them when they were old enough that if they ever felt the need to reach out, I would support them. But they never did. They had processed her absence in their own ways and decided they did not need someone who had not needed them. Lucas graduated high school with honors and got into a good engineering program. Sophia earned a scholarship for graphic design. They both grew into remarkable adults, kind and resilient and full of love. I watched them walk across stages, move into dorms, navigate their first jobs, and I felt this fierce pride knowing we had made it. The 3 of us, against everything, had built a family that worked. Lucas is 26 now, living in the city, engaged to a wonderful woman named Amy.